What unpopular opinion do you hold? What would get you downvoted to infinity and beyond? Throwaways welcome. Fat people should not be allowed motorized carts in supermarkets or Disney World. If you actually have a medical condition where you need it, then take it. But if you are just fat and you can't walk for very long cause you are fat, then frick you. The exercise will be good for you. I'm a fat guy, and that's the thing I absolutely will never do. I will never allow myself to be that lazy. I'm obese, and I know it. But I make sure that I stay in good enough shape to always be able to walk myself around. And if I ever get to that point, I'll kill myself before I decide to drive around Walmart in one of those freaking motorized carts. I love being a housewife. My boyfriend gives me a weekly budget. After bills, groceries, if there is any left, that's my spending money. It's never much, but I don't care. I love having a clean house and home cooked meals. I love it when we have people visit and I can play host. I have lost friends over this as they seem to think I am crazy to live like it's the 1950s. But really I am happy and my only worries are what to cook. I wish I could be a house husband. That sounds awesome. I feel like most people I've met who identify as geeky have really bad attitudes and an immature sense of humor. They seem to think being really negative all the time and making off-color jokes that could likely be very offensive is somehow socially appropriate. I play video games and read a lot of sci-fi fantasy and get involved in fandom and all that. And so I'm always interested in meeting other geeks, but more often than not I'm disappointed. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm majoring in comp science, and my classes are full of these people. Not Eastern. It's not a popular opinion in front of my friends, who may have been treated rudely by a cop or two, but I really support cops. They have to deal with the shittiest people, not just criminals but people who are they got caught speeding. 2. Cops get treated rudely in almost every situation where they have to do their job, and I really empathize with them. I hear people say things like all cops are power tripping, and I've even heard someone discourage a former soldier from being a cop because of their negative opinions. Quit being an butthole. They are doing their jobs. If they're rude to you while doing it, it might be because of your bad attitude. Try treating cops like human beings and you might, just might, be shown a little leniency. So far it's worked for me. Angry Phoenix. I think human babies ugly and disgusting. When people post their newborns on Facebook, I hide the posts. I hate people who bring little babies into social activities for adults. 2. I love kids though. Having watched many people around me become awful parents, I really wish a child raising and bearing license was in effect. Something that proved you were taught the basics of raising a child, and financially able to do so as well. I've told this to a number of friends and they all treat me like I'm crazy, but I honestly think it would solve a lot of problems with children from problem homes. As Keanu Reeves said in Parenthood, you know, Mrs. Buckman, you need a license to buy a dog, to drive a car, heck, you even need a license to catch a fish. But they'll let any butt-reaming butthole be a father. I feel that people over age 55 should be required to take driving tests every couple of years for the rest of their lives. Everyone should have to do this, and the standards for not freaking bright enough to operate a speeding hunk of steel should be more rigorous. I don't see anything wrong with polygamy. It's their own family and I classify it pretty much the same as gay marriage. It is obviously different, but how a family works and loves is their own business. I don't think it screws up kids any more than normal things kids go trough in a nuclear family. If your kid is acting the fool out in public, it should be okay to give them a spanking. Parents are letting their kids walk all over them, without discipline. I remember when the look from mom or dad made you straighten up and stop your crap. If I found out that my child would have a severe physical or mental disability while I was pregnant, I would have an abortion. I don't feel it would be right to bring a child into the world that wouldn't be able to enjoy living. I honestly think it's selfish when parents know their child will have a painful or meaningless life and continue on with their pregnancy. And also damaging the lives of your other children because you wouldn't be able to give them as much attention. The voice of Reddit is annoying. Most of you act, talk and think the same way, yet think you are the most original being to ever exist. I see most of you as whiny mid-20-year-old boys who make misogynist objectifying comments about women and still feel like you're the nice guy who deserves a supermodel. Also, Louis CK wouldn't like most of you if you met him in person. He actually has things to be miserable about and that's why he's cynical. Most of you guys are way too dark for your age and really should get out more. Sorry. Exactly. The misogyny kills me. It's everywhere. And when I speak out, I'm downvoted to oblivion. Black History Month is totally racist. Despite what everyone thinks, it singles black people out again as almost a way of saying, okay, you can have your own goddamn month to celebrate. That better? Just please don't steal my car stereo. And the kicker is they get the shortest month. I think Anchorman is overrated. Quite honestly, I don't like any movie Will Ferrell has done since 2004. They are all the same. He yells in the same voice about stupid things. There's dirty sexual jokes. He cries awkwardly. He plays an idiot with confidence. I think Will Ferrell is funny. He just needs to stop writing his own movies. I thought Megamind was pretty good. A condition of receiving welfare should be going on long-term birth control. If you have a child and it comes out positive for drugs or alcohol, you should be sterilized. I'm not talking a little pot in the system. I am talking crack babies and the like. I wouldn't see anything wrong with informing food stamp recipients of the availability of free birth control to be provided at. I think statutory rape laws are arbitrary and harmful. It is horrible that an 18-year-old who knows no more than a 17-year-old about the realities of sex can be arrested and labeled a sexual predator for the rest of his/her life because he had sex with them. I don't know what the right legal approach is here, but it is certainly not the current paradigm. No more than 2 offspring per person for the sake of the planet and ensuring a reasonably less densely populated future. The planet can't sustain humans at the rate which we currently reproduce. Also, you should have to be financially screened before getting a breeding license, as birthing a child into poverty is akin to negligence in my opinion, and relying on welfare for a situation which you could avoid is a selfish burden on others. 2 things for me. 1. This may be a popular opinion here or not, but I am pretty liberal and still think welfare should have tighter controls. I know so many people on welfare that are just lazy bums that use it as an excuse to sit around and smoke dope all day. Most of my friends would argue for ages with me about this, and I don't mean the ghetto bums on welfare. 2. I think many housewives just use that term to mean they sit around at home and do nothing. Sure, I know there are many proper housewives that take care of the kids, cook, clean, etc. But I know many co-workers friends that have housewife wives and their wives basically just sit around surfing the net and watching TV all day while their husband works, then comes home and has to clean up, then cooks dinner, does all the yard work on the weekend, etc. Half of them don't even actually stay home most of the day and just leave the oldest kid to take care of the youngest. Then, if you try to find a way to tell them to get a job or do more cleaning or whatever, the men get called sexist pigs that don't understand all the work the wife does. If the wife does so much work, why is nothing done? Downvote away. Not a throwaway either. Oh, thought of another. I hate hearing people be about how much their kids cost when they are paying for all kinds of unnecessary items, i.e. cars, cell phone, etc. and their kids aren't working, doing chores or helping at all. Plus, you had the option to choose not to have kids. Everyone in this entire continent does through various means. Then they'll harp on me for saying I don't want kids after they spent the last half hour bitching about their kids. Despite being an atheist, atheists annoy me. Not all of them, just the ones who believe people can't have their own religious beliefs. Sometimes I have more science shoved down my throat than a Jehovah's Witness could hope shove the Bible down my throat. Instructions for proper use of this thread. Read title. Read description. Change sorted by from top to new. Profit. I don't like bacon, but I eat it anyway cause my BF feels good when we have bacon and eggs for breakfast together. Breakfast together is a rare thing. Friends who post about how frisky drugged up they are on Facebook. I really don't give a crap. I'll just unfriend after getting a few giggles and watching you lose your third job in 4 months. But one day your kids are going to read that crap. I really dislike morbidly obese people. They aren't hurting me with their fatness, but I almost hate them. May not be that unpopular, but it makes me feel like an butthole. That's not an unpopular opinion. Not only on Reddit, but IRL it seems that the majority of people have a negative bias towards the overweight. I truly despise anime. To me the art style is cheaply drawn and the contents are usually WTF worthy. While I admit that certain ones are worth watching like Grave of the Fireflies and Princess Mononoke, the rest are usually tween garbage that contributes nothing to humanity and art. I don't understand how when 100 Americans die in an American accident it is considered a tragedy and they hold anniversaries for it, and when tens of thousands of civilians are dying in the Middle East no one thinks anything of it. One death is a tragedy, 1,000 million is a statistic. I never liked Pearl Jam because I can't understand what Eddie Vedder was singing. This could apply equally to early Rem Michael Stipe as well, but hypocritically I don't mind when it's murmur playing. It might not get me downvoted, but I absolutely hate American-made cars, and I live in America. I just don't see anything in them that the Japanese can't do better in their vehicles. I agree, but Germans make some pretty decent cars too. I think a lot of people are brainwashed by the crappy newspapers they buy and base their whole lives around what they read in said crappy newspapers. Rampant sex beast pedo only gets 1 year in prison after manipulating child. 18-year-old man has sex with 17-year-old. Teenage boy kills another student in cold blood with no remorse. Teenager kills manipulative bully who fricked with him for years on end. Just rough examples, but you know what I mean. Newspapers use words that people have made their own definitions of to scare them. That honesty should be the default, even if it's an uncomfortable truth. A lot of Redditors think that you're an butthole if you choose not to lie to somebody to protect their feelings. I find most majors in college a complete waste of time and truly feel most people in college are only in it to say they went there. Most people I know who went to college and graduated regret it now. I think fat people are alright. I don't understand why they are always getting grief. A few people whine and make a whole group of people look bad. Not all fat people hate being fat and not all fat people are out of shape. My 243 pounds friend is way healthier than my 134 pound self. She never be about her weight and I respect that. It's a whole lot of stereotyping I can't stand to see. I am for drug legalization. Not only marijuana, also CH, LSD etc. And it should be sold by the state. I don't say this because I'd love to be able to do drugs, something I will never do because I'm not that stupid. I think drugs should be legal because they are the primary source of income for the mafia. Making drugs legal and a state business would be the most destructive attack possible against the mafia, a criminal organization that is only about making money in illegal ways. You take away the money, you cripple the mafia. Making drugs legal might increase the number of addicts, but only by a small percentage. After all, people avoid H not because it's illegal, but because it kills you. The benefit for society however would be enormous, at least in countries where the mafia is everywhere, like Italy, where I live. Plus it would put some money in the state's pockets, which could be used to treat drug addicts and carry on campaigns against drugs. TLDR. Prohibition seldom works. Let's legalize drugs and kill the mafia. I think we should be way more critical of Islam, which I find to be draconian, than we are of Christianity. I think we pick on the kid that doesn't hit back, instead of the kid that cuts off heads. I think it is spineless to do otherwise, and I'm tired of all the freaking weaklings calling people racist just because they want to call a spade, just as is always done here with Christianity's regard. I've recently unsubscribed from our atheism as a result of this distasteful double standard. Also, while I'm at it, I think affirmative action is reverse discrimination, and find it to be far more racist to believe that certain people could never compete with white people, and Asians, or women with men, without a protected status. I think it spits on those who fought and sacrificed their lives to prove otherwise. I'm not a popular man. Affirmative action is simply a stand-in for real action at the root cultural and economic causes of the racial gap. We should be tackling those instead of trying to treat a symptom. I'm a virgin and I'm waiting until I'm married to have sex. People go crazy when they hear this about me, and it's not like I'm even saying that everyone should be like me or I'm trying to be holier than thou. Most people don't even know this about me until they start trying to get me to talk about my non-existent sex life. It's just my personal choice and I don't really care whether you're virgin or not, although I'll respect you more and feel a sense of camaraderie with you if you're also waiting until marriage for sex. So then why do you care so much about what I'm doing? I don't see why it's anyone's business. This is just your personal choice. If someone makes a big deal about this to you, they suck. I was asked to donate to Hurricane Sandy relief. I declined, stating America had enough money to sort out its people's needs. I live in Asia and the idea of sending money to the USA seemed absurd given the amount of immediate problems over here. Polygamy. I'm not only for it becoming legal, I'm for it in my own relationship. A second wife as part of our family would be fantastic, especially if I could find one that my husband really fell for. Last time I posted this, I was getting the vibe that men disagreed, but liberal arts requirements in college, they are just a way to drag out what should be a 2.53-year experience another year, sometimes even more, and leech more money from the students. I am a biologist. I have no desire to learn any sort of arts and humanities as deemed so by the university. Not saying I don't like art, but some say that you need these things to be a more well-rounded person. No, you don't. If anything, it has made my 4-year college experience less engaging and legitimate, and I have become a jaded butt when asked about college because of policies like these. I think a good portion of guys still sees women are decorative walking sex toys, and most women are promoting that by making themselves look as decorative and otherwise useless as possible. My wife doesn't do that. She is an actual person first. May I suggest that Potato Sindonians was talking about the way women are now portrayed. Pretty much every action movie these days treats women as sex objects than minor character. I'm sure there are a few that are different, I just haven't seen them. I can't stand first-person shooters. They scare the badgesses out of me. I can barely stand playing Minecraft on peaceful mode. I support eugenics. The fact that people who are less successful and have lower IQs typically have more children makes me fear for the future of our species. I think the whole support the troops is misguided. They all voluntarily signed up and were presented a contract explicitly starting the terms. I don't not support them, nor do I support them. It's like asking me if I support taxi cab drivers. No, it's their job and they are paid to do it. Also, people misinterpret what support the troops means. Support the troops preachers will often insist that anyone opposing certain military involvement is against the troops. You can disagree with a military invasion involvement and still support the well-being of the soldiers and their families. Before reading any further, I think what Hitler did was wrong. My opinion, in a 1000 years Hitler will receive the same status as Caesar or Alexander the Great. TBH, what Hitler did wasn't as bad as Caesar. Caesar enslaved any civilization he came across. Alexander cut a bloody path over Europe to India. Both were responsible for multiple acts of genocide. Also Hitler did what he thought was best for his people, creating jobs, Volkswagen and helping Germany out the worst depression it had ever seen, suppressed by the Weimar government. Again, don't get me wrong. I think killing Jews is very, very wrong. But if I look at the history books, I see greater monsters as him that are displayed as heroes. Leaving aside the obvious moral differences between the two, Hitler was the loser, Caesar was the winner. I don't think everyone is entitled to all of their opinions. Sometimes, when your opinion is crap enough, you don't deserve to have it. I think sex offenders are demonized too much. Like all other criminals, I believe they deserve justice, but I also think they deserve just as much of a shot at redemption as everyone else. Even being accused of a sexual offense will pretty much ruin any career. Get convicted and your whole life is fricked. Again, I don't think it's okay by any means to rape or molest anyone. I just think the way things are, there is no hope for rehabilitation. Especially crimes like public urination or a 19-year-old having consensual sex with a 17-year-old. Another thing I really believe in, if you live below the poverty level, 1 or 2 kid limit, no more fricking 6 kids when you make 20 grams per year and then have to receive federal aid in order to pay for the children. Also, genocide in Africa, too much disease and starvation there. It's extremely sad, but them having kids is just awful. The kids grow up looking like Holocaust victims as do the parents, and oftentimes the children die a slow starving death or from disease. Sorry, but no kids. Also, you should be required to take an IQ test to even have children or drive. I see graffiti as vandalism, not art. Whether you are scratching your stupid tag into a $600 window with an X-Acto blade or painting a boxcar with 30 different colors of spray paint, I feel that vandalizing others' property without permission is not okay. I think one of the biggest things that perpetuates racism is people trying to have their own unique culture within a group. Sure, you're a black guy, but you live down the street from me. We should have roughly the same life experiences. People trying to have their own unique culture within a group is one of the main things that humans do. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.